Behind the electrifying scenes of English football, a controversial decision by Liverpool is making waves, and none other than Jamie Carragher, a Reds legend and one of the club's most respected voices, has raised the alarm. In his view, the club's choice not to go all in for Marc Guehi could turn out to be a mistake that comes back to haunt Anfield. Carragher, who always speaks with his heart beating red, believes Liverpool should have wrapped up the deal early in the summer window, before everything collapsed on deadline day. The frustration was immense. Guehi even underwent a medical in London on 1 September, after Liverpool and Crystal Palace had agreed a £35 million fee with a 10% sell-on clause. Everything was set for the defender to wear red, but the script suddenly changed. Palace manager Oliver Glasner dug his heels in and refused to let his captain go without a guaranteed replacement. The plan had been to bring in Igor Julio from Brighton, but that move was sabotaged by a last-minute approach from West Ham, which threw the whole situation into chaos. The result? With no replacement in sight, Glasner pulled the plug on Guehi's transfer, and according to reports, even threatened to walk away from the job if the defender was sold in a rush. The English defender's dream crumbled to dust, and Liverpool, who had seemed ready to act, chose to wait. Now, behind the scenes at Anfield, the word is that the club planned to try again only in the summer of 2026, when Guehi could leave for free. But for Carragher, this cold calculation could prove costly. Speaking recently on the Overlap podcast, the former centre-back was blunt. Guehi's presence would give a crucial boost to Arne Slot's defence, offering not just quality, but also depth to a squad still searching for stability in the new post-Klopp era. Some of the most reliable journalists have said Liverpool will only go back for him at the end of the season, not in January. And honestly, they wouldn't write that if it wasn't true. I'm sure there have been conversations between Guehi, his agent, and the right people at Liverpool, and that the club have made it clear, we're still after you, Carragher stated. Even so, he believes this sort of wait-and-see approach is a dangerous game. It feels like they're thinking, maybe he costs £10 million now, but we'd rather get him for free later. Liverpool always do what they think is a good deal, but could they regret it? Yes, absolutely, he said. According to Carragher, this decision carries a clear risk, because the current defence, despite a strong start to the season with 9 points from 9, lacks reliable alternatives if one of the starters goes down. He stressed that, as well as Slot has started, there is a glaring gap in the squad. This is the one area where it could blow up in their faces, because at the end of the day, Guehi would bring real competition to the backline. Right now, they've got 2 starters and 2 backups, and that's it, he pointed out. The 2 starters are solid, but the stand-ins raise concerns. Joe Gomez, who has shown quality but is notoriously injury-prone, and Giovanni Leone, a young Italian prospect still far too raw to cope with the pressure of big matches over several months. Carragher did not hide his unease at the idea that if an injury hits one of the defensive pillars, the team could be left exposed. He knows Arne Slot's Liverpool are trying to reinvent themselves with intelligence and patience, but warns that football rarely forgives such risky bets. An unexpected stumble or a run of defensive errors could turn a promising start to the season into a nightmare, all because of an overly calculated gamble. For the supporters, Carragher's words ring like a wake-up call. While the club dreams of conquering everything under Slot, the absence of a centre-back of Guehi's calibre could become the stumbling block of this new era. And if Liverpool wait too long and another European giant swoops in to snatch the defender before next summer, Carragher leaves that question hanging, along with the feeling that this saga is far from over.
After the whirlwind surrounding the Marc Guehi saga, which ended in frustration and sharp criticism from Jamie Carragher, warning that this decision could blow up in Liverpool's face, the club decided to turn the page and prove that when they truly want someone, they go all the way. And that is exactly what they did by pulling off one of the boldest moves of this window, the sensational signing of Alexander Isak in the dying moments of the market. If the Reds were previously accused of hesitating over Guehi, this time they slammed their fist on the table, broke the club's transfer record, and snatched one of the most sought-after strikers in the Premier League straight from Newcastle United. All summer long, the Magpies played hardball and repeated endlessly that Isak was not for sale. But behind the scenes, the Swedish striker began quietly applying pressure for the move to happen, making the unthinkable seem possible. There were moments when it looked as though Liverpool would be forced to swallow their frustration and wait, but patience turned into audacity. When Newcastle finally gave in at the 11th hour, the Reds acted with surgical precision and sealed the deal. It was a move that left the market stunned and the fans ecstatic, not just because of Isak's talent, but because of the clear signal of ambition the club sent under Arne Slot's command. Interestingly, this boldness brings back memories of another legendary saga at Anfield, the signing of Virgil van Dijk. Before becoming one of the greatest defenders of the modern era and costing a record £75 million, Van Dijk was also at the centre of a tense behind-the-scenes drama. In 2017, Liverpool were accused of making an illegal approach for the player and had to swallow their pride, issue a public apology to Southampton, and promise to end any pursuit of the defender. At the time, it looked like a humiliating conclusion, but when the next window opened, the Reds returned for him and landed the Dutchman, who went on to transform the club's defensive standards forever. Today, with Isak, the script feels like a mirror of that past. Liverpool were on the brink of frustration, but proved they know how to pick their battles and wait for the perfect moment to strike. Former Southampton CEO Martin Semmens, recalling the Van Dijk saga, admitted that forcing a player to stay had backfired badly. According to him, Van Dijk kept training and playing, but was clearly at 75%, and even then was still the best in the team, a giant trapped by pride and stubbornness. "We thought he owed us something because he'd spent months injured." Looking back, it was embarrassing, Semmens confessed, admitting there were even contacts from Liverpool that had angered the Saints at the time. In the end, Southampton walked away with a fortune, while Liverpool walked away with a transformational leader. And now, by all indications, history could be repeating itself. With Isak, the Reds are showing they have learned from the past. Strategic patience may look like hesitation from the outside, but when the opportunity arises, they strike like predators. If they were once criticised for letting Guehi slip away, the message is now loud and clear. Liverpool are not afraid to wait, nor to break barriers when they believe a player can change the club's future. After all the turbulence, the feeling around Anfield is that Isak's arrival is not just a signing, but a roar of intent. Liverpool are back in the big game, ready to show the same boldness that once brought Van Dijk, and determined not to repeat the mistakes that almost saw Guehi escape. The message to the Premier League is clear. Underestimating them could be a fatal error.